Welcome back to the Chalk Talk Show, your Call of Duty show for pure punditry, expect no expertise. And this week we've had a bang out week, we've had an insane week, and I just want to say, I know fucking ball. Watch my pick'ems, you will believe. I picked both Minnesota and Thieves. No one believed me, I bet. All right, I'm here joined with my co-hosts, Davey and Orion. We're going to talk about these matches. How you guys doing? How did you guys find the weekend?
Honestly, there were some series with very low gameplay.
True.
Like low gameplay quality.
Oh,
And I'm
yeah.
sure we'll talk about it later, but I'm pretty appalled at the skill level of Overload right now, and I can't wait to talk about it. I'm just fuming from watching some of these matches, so yeah.
Yeah, I watch Overload sometimes, and it just feels like, I mean, obviously I would think the pros know better than me, but I'm watching them play, and I'm bamboozled. I'm an average player, and I'm bamboozled at what these guys are doing on the map. But yeah, in terms of the low level of play, I think that's just a lot to do with the teams that we saw. Two matches, we saw two Boston matches and two Cloud9 matches. So I think that's going to contribute to the low floor feeling of the gameplay.
All right, we'll get into it, but first, let's do a quick rundown of the matches. We started off with Vancouver Surge versus Miami Heretics. We were kind of high on the TJ train. Might have fucked us over there because...
Not me.
Well, of course, not him. Might be a little bit of honeymoon period or something fading away, but Heretics came out strong, honestly. But it looked like Vancouver kind of were just fucking it up for themselves, especially how they closed out the match with Super getting that just freest 1v3 ever. There's a lot of that going in the match the whole time. Next, Riyadh Falcons, Paris Genomates. Falcons 3-1 that.
Both of you predicted the mates to win Major 1, by the way.
Hey,
and
it's a
they're getting
qualifier. It's a
3-1
qualifier.
by the Falcons.
Well, in the first episode, I actually did have Falcons on my tier list in the slow start, but actually Sleeper Demons tier. I predicted this all along.
Okay, well, Sleeper Demons. When are they activating them? Like, when is that secret agent?
Wait, you're talking about Falcons. Fuck.
Well,
for the Falcons, yeah.
There's no need to activate them. They're permanently activated, dude. They got 6 rings, and they pulled an overload strat that we haven't seen yet. I mean, we knew it was kind of possible, but we hadn't seen it yet.
Look,
and they slammed with it. So
I agree with the take that they're permanently activated because if you listen to their comms, you can tell that they're on something. But this is their peak. Moving on. Miami Heretics, Boston Breach. Heretics bringing that same momentum into their next matches. At least I've been saying, I don't know how you guys felt about it, but Heretics have been looking like a little bit subdued ever since the start of the series, but looks like they're coming back to it. You heard in the interview that they were talking about how over the break and over the past weeks, they were just focusing on fine-tuning things. Looks like it's working out for them. Next match, another goddamn upset for me. It's Ravens taking a 3-1 against Koi. Now, okay, props to Ravens. They're looking so good. Koi, that's just unacceptable to me, honestly. That one series where they're just not shooting back. Although, side tangent, I saw somebody fucking posting in the Reddit talking about how Exceed to Ravens is like Mercury's to Optic. Thoughts? And I'm like, bro, what the fuck is that comparison?
They have not lost a match yet.
Fuck off.
That's all I'm saying.
It's been like 3 matches. Anyway, next, Cloud9 New York versus FaZe Vegas. I believed in Mac because every time Mac went against Simp, he showed something. So I actually predicted Cloud9 to win it. They got fucking 3-0'd. Bodied. FaZe still looking like, we're the best in the game. Clearly they're going to take the top spot, right? Hold up. Next day, we got Breach going back, Cloud9 New York, the most mid-pack of mid-pack fights I've ever seen in my mid-ass mid-life. G2, Minnesota versus FaZe Vegas. I mentioned this, I predicted Minnesota to take against FaZe. I predicted this. I know my shit. Just randomly, FaZe, they're gonna fall apart. Look. I respect everyone there. Draza has been playing well. He's been playing well. He's been playing like shit in the beginning of the series. This series, even this past weekend, he's been playing well. But you know what? I'm disappointed in my son Abuza because G2 taking this, they just swing. They show they have the ability to win these big matches, but just so sketchy and dicey, and we can go more into it later, I bet. The last one, the big one. I said this is Kenny's last chance. I predicted them to win, though. I predicted them to win. And you know what? My partner there, Cruz, she was also on my side. She was writing fucking Kenny on her notebook the whole time doing black magic and shit. It worked. They win. They won. I didn't even quite believe it myself. But you know what?
No, come on. This was the most predictable outcome on all time. Like, this is just the classic scenario. Kenny is being threatened to be dropped, so he goes, Optic will pay for this, and he just bodies them, right? Like, he goes double positive every single map. I don't think that's a, true thing, but
We talk about
like
the narrative all the time, though. We talk about, Optic will pay for this. Kenny always beats Optic. But why? Why does he turn it on when he sees green? But those are the matches. 3-1 Optic. Should we just go straight into Thieves Optic since we're here?
I think so, because everyone's going to want to talk about this, right? It's Optic at the end of the day. Everyone's going to overreact to this series. I'll say, I think LA been catching a lot of flack. Some of it rightfully so, some of it not. Kenny always starts the year extremely slow, regardless of if you're a believer or hater. He always starts the year really slow, so I think it's normal for him to start the year slow again this year. The problem is if you're willing to gamble on him the whole year, if he's being slow all year, for the hope that he pops off at Champs, he usually does. And Vanguard, he arguably won them the ring at Champs, right? Like, because he was just doing it all on the... I think in the whole time I've played, the most disgusting gun I've ever seen, the Automaton. Like, that is truly...
Wait.
That was
He
one of the most
switched
disgusting
when they won,
guns.
though. He switched to PBSH.
In
Vanguard, that's how they won, because they switched
MP, wasn't
them
it
up.
PBSH wasn't a
MP40?
gun.
MP40. They switched into MP40 for the last
No,
half.
he didn't. Shut up. Every map he played well, he was playing the auto. Like, don't give me that. That
Okay.
is such an AR
I
take.
will give
Like,
you.
that
I
is such
will
an
give you
auto-apologist
that.
take.
One Thieves, their shit a lot was their map pool having Gavutu in their lot. But anyway, my point stands. They did switch him off into Flex SMG, if you want to put it that way.
Listen, all I'm saying is the only maps they look good in were Berlin when he was just an auto abuser. But anyways, regardless, I think the thing that I think is really interesting about Texas, I mean, it's clear that they're not practiced, but there's one player in particular I want to talk about, which is Dashi. Dashi looks like he literally doesn't play the game. I don't think, uses wall jumps. And Dashi actually, by AR standards, I think has very good movement. I think he's always someone really playing the edge of movement and like his angles as an AR. And that's really your movement as an AR, is like kind of the way that you're holding angles and playing your angles on like kind of tight corners and edges. As an AR, I think that's the way that you see like movement skill expression in that role. And to be honest, he just has none of that this year. He doesn't really use like the pseudo advanced movement with the wall bouncing very much. He just looks extremely rusty, is what I would say. It looks like he's not really playing the game. So I think to a certain extent, your head getting too big is normal after winning champs 2 years in a row. And like, especially in the miracle way that they did last year, how can you not feel like you can't lose or just like nothing's ever going to go wrong? But I think it's clear that like they just need to practice. Like, genuinely, what more can you say than that? They just look so mechanically bad individually.
Another thing I want to say about Dashi is that I think they played two exposure respawns in this series, and like the top lane and the bottom lane of the map are so straight up, like just so many long angles, and I would think that those are maps that would really suit Dashi, and he could just kind of iron up and just kind of beam people like across like all the way down the lane, but he was getting destroyed and he couldn't buy one. So I don't know what was going on with him. It's maybe like a one-off day, but yeah, he didn't look good.
I know Dashi talked about a lot when he first came in as a rookie, as a young player. He talked a lot about how he thought the way to win was just killing everything, challenging everything, and doing everything on the map. And over time, we see him develop like in a good way a lot of times, especially seeing how he won these champs. And he said he attributes it to Scump retiring and him changing his mindset into thinking, oh, to win the map, I just need to be the best team player. I think now he's kind of overcompensating for it, though. If you it's like what you're saying. He's not taking advantage of the mechanics of the game. He's not taking advantage of positioning and advantageous AR fights on the map. And I feel like he's giving too much room to Merc to try to do everything. Merc's got the best stats. Everybody's saying he's the best AR player in the game. He's good. We know he's good. But how much is that to just Merc having to do everything because of sort of both Dashi and Shotzi just not doing enough. You know what I mean? We've seen all the stats which people are talking about, and all the narratives people are saying how he's like what 45th or something on hardpoint sort of firepower. So it's like a combination of all things, I think, and he's like overcompensating in this mindset of I need to play a bit more passive, subdued. No, you need to be BO4 Dashi. Okay, maybe not BO4 Dashi, but you need to be like at least some level of that. Merc's great.
Yeah, and
be all great.
The thing is, though, I will say about Mercules, like, some of it is not just hype. Like, P2 on exposure, Optic runs that hill every single time. It's because Mercules is unkillable on the tank. Like, just the way he's finessing around it, he's just 1v4ing that hill every single game. It's honestly, like, incredible how good Optic is at that hill. So if this is like their ceiling, if we attribute like, P2 on exposure to be their ceiling, then they still are the best team in the game in my opinion, because they are unbeatable on P2 exposure. Like every single time, if they have to break from bad side, they instantly break it. If they're holding it, they hold the full 60. Like they look so good on that one. Anyway, so I'm sick of talking about Optic. I'm not a long time COD fan, so I got less love for them than most people. Give me another one. Can I bring up a match that I really want to talk about, which is Vegas, Minnesota?
Sure.
And this is one that I was absolutely mauling at because this was the worst exposure I've ever seen. Like it was so, or not exposure, sorry. This was the worst overload I've ever seen.
Oh my god. Oh.
It was so bad, man. Like Teams, like I know none of you are gonna listen to me because I'm just some scrub, and you're just gonna say, "Oh, you've never competed, you're dog shit, whatever." Listen, the way that you play Overload is you have to either wipe them or juke them before you go for the score. You're lining up on Den going towards, I don't actually know if the points are labeled like A and B, so I'm gonna say like the courtyard point where it's like the small building is the final point. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
So
Near
like
Tools building.
they're
Yeah.
trying to ram the ball through there. It's an 8-man square up in the small hallway, and you just get wiped. And then the other team picks up the ball and runs across the map to Dojo. And then there's an 8-man square up in the hallway over there, and everyone dies. And then you do the same thing back and forth. I just watched 2 idiots run into each other for 10 minutes doing this, and no one tries to run a route the whole time. And then finally Simp runs a route for the overtime, and he like waits for the kill in the very end, and he just gets COD timinged to the 10th degree where he only gets one when he should have had absolutely the freest double. So I was fuming watching this match, man. It honestly looked like if you had told me neither of these teams had scrimmed Overload once, I would have believed you. It was completely amateur. Like if you're getting paid like 6 figures to play Call of Duty, that is just like, if I was GMing, I'd be in there whooping ass right now. Like that is crazy.
I also notice in Overload, like a lot of teams, like when they get capped and the other team's in their spawn, like the transition between like fighting to hold your spawn and not allow them to score to trying to go contest like the next spawn point for the device, they don't know how to do it. It feels like they've never tried it before, because so many times like you see a team score and then they have one person in their spawn going crazy, but then like the team who just got scored on is still like pushing out the other spawn, even though like 4 people are alive, and then they just have a free, completely open lane to just go score again. They just get 2 off of it because they won like one fight. I don't know. I feel like teams get too hasty to try to spawn camp when they're getting scored on, and it just allows 2 or 3 scores when it should have just been 1.
I'm amazed that we got 2 scores even in this game, honestly, because both teams were playing so badly. It literally, and both scores happened like back to back within, I don't know if this is actually a fact, but it felt like 30 seconds, maybe it was a minute, but very close together, because it's exactly as you described, Davey. One team scored because they just got the wipe and got through, like they just, all the kills worked out. They didn't even do something smart for the record. They just head bashed and won the head bash. And then instantly the other team spawns up and they're all in the enemy base, and they just run away from them and score their own point. It was so ugly, man. and I'll say this right now because I'm feeling like a bit of a hater of the game mode. Maybe it's just because of the games this weekend or what. Overload is so much worse than Control. Don't you ever try to compare these game modes to each other. It's not even close.
That's a 1v1 I'd take you. I would rather have almost anything other than Control. I think if teams
No,
learn how to play this game mode, it might be stale, but my problem with it is, forgive this tangent here. Overload might be stale. Teams need to figure out how to play it. It might be stale, but I would take stale over a mode that just feels unfair and bad to play every day of the week. That's just me. Control felt really bad. I hated it.
I'll take you up on
I
that
don't
one.
know.
Control was fucking awful in the past 3 years. There's no way you can tell me that Control in the 3 years is still better than this right now. Sure, we have some shit games, but we also have some so much better, higher ceiling games in Overload than we ever had in Control, dude.
No, man, I
Oh
I
man, he
fully
says.
I fully disagree. And that's okay, we can disagree, but I think for me, just anytime a game has a point in the match where it's mathematically impossible for the other team to win, it's just an auto L in my opinion. Like there you're telling me when we watched who was it that I was watching? Like LA, Texas, right? That last series that we were just talking about. It got to a point where there's a minute left on the game clock and it's unwinnable for Texas, literally unwinnable. So you're telling me you would rather watch a full minute of nobody care on the map, literally meaningless gameplay for like a significant portion of the match than you'd rather watch Control.
Yeah, it's definitely a problem. It's sort of like a pick your poison kind of thing. Like that's not great. It's funny. Some pros were saying that with how the movement works, they could have put uplink in this game, but I digress. It's bad that you can be mathematically eliminated from the game, and it kind of leads to a bunch of game time that's inconsequential. And I think before the break, Scrap just went AFK in an overload. But my problem with Control is that you would often get losses that you did not really earn. Like on defense, you could defend 2, 3, 4 pushes of enemy waves, and then you lose one wave and you lose the round. And that could happen to both of your defenses, and then they win an attack and you lose the game, even though you were kind of destroying them most of the time. So you would just the way Control felt to me is that you would often get losses that you didn't deserve. And that just felt really bad to me. So, yeah, it's not good that you can get mathematically eliminated if you get kind of rolled too early in Overload, but I would still personally rather take that than getting a loss that I don't deserve.
Here, let me. I want to reframe this and posit it as a question to you both. You remember in it was Champs, right? It was Champs last year on Control. Toronto Ultra versus Optic, the 2v6 from Hugh and Shotzi in the Control for them to win, right? You remember that? The hype moment. Take that moment, and earlier this season, FaZe versus Thieves, the Control exposure there, not the Control, the Overload exposure there with that last second score. You remember that one, right? Both really hype moments. My question to you two now is, which one do you think was the better moment?
I think the Control moment, just because all of the hype, the phase, the snapshot tiny moment of getting to the overtime in the Overload this year was better, and then it was immediately diffused because 20 seconds later the other team scored and it was just instantly over. So all that anticipation and build-up just meant literally nothing. 10 seconds later, 20 seconds later. That's my take on it.
I will say that Overload can lead to some pretty anticlimactic ending to some matches and some maps. My argument against Control in that case is that it's beneficial if your viewer base plays the game and interacts with the game a lot. That's kind of one of the ways you can monetize esports. And I think if you have a mode that feels better to play, that would attract more people to potentially watch it, maybe, than, I'm just speculating at this point, rather than having a mode that's exciting to watch, but then when you go to play it, it kind of feels not that great. So again, that's just me personally, like Control is probably more hype to watch. Like if there's like a 1v4 and they manage to pull it off to in overtime, that's pretty exciting. But just playing it, I didn't enjoy it all. So for that reason, I think I'd still rather have Overload, even if it's a bit anticlimactic.
Before we haven't touched on it at all. Let's put the last thing we have to say about Overload. The Falcons match versus Genomates. Overload Den. That last round. Flashbacks to Albagra Fortress. What did you guys think about the turtles? The goddamn turreting.
I mean, people are hating on it, but I actually don't mind. I think
God
it's
damn
like
it. Of course he's gonna take this take. Holy shit, dude. You're the
Finally, there's
antithesis of the CDL fan base, and you know what? More power to you for it. Go.
yeah, because you know what? Finally, there's a strategy that isn't just head bash, right? Like there's an actual strategy in the game, right? Like, oh, we have to play for the turtle here instead of like just aggroing 24/7 like every other millisecond of Call of Duty. And I know that this might be an unpopular opinion in the Call of Duty scene to like use your brain instead of your thumbs, but like come on, can we have like an ounce of strategy, just a little bit? I already don't get smokes and respawn. I already don't get any field upgrades besides 2 trophy systems and 2 mute fields, which I'll just say, like, someone please send me a way to disable the sound effect of mute field when it's active, please. I don't run the field upgrade because I feel like I'm getting fucking tinnitus when I'm playing the game. Like, please just let me disable the field upgrade noise, man. It's so bad. But
There's a
anyways,
lot
like,
of weird noises
I
in
don't
this
know.
game.
I think it was fine. I think it will start to become a problem, and I think we're already seeing it start to become a problem where turtling is too strong in Overload. I think you also kind of saw this like in the so there was like the Falcons Paris one where we like really saw turtling as a strategy, but also in the Miami Vancouver series on the Friday, we saw an overtime happen where neither team moved for a minute. And so I think it is clear that turtling is too strong right now in that overtime, like there's not really a reason to aggress. Like there needs to be some sort of incentive to make a play in overtime. And I think that, as we were talking about earlier, like with the mathematically impossible piece, like turtling, there is going to be times when turtling is just the right move and it leads to some pretty boring gameplay to watch. But I don't hate the concept of turtling, like, being a viable strategy at points. It's just that piece about like when is it viable? And right now it's probably viable too much.
Yeah, I mean, when they were doing it like during the round and just keeping it like the device way in the back spawn, it's super cheese, and I would tilt off the face of the earth if that happened to me. But I mean, fundamentally, I don't hate it. It's a high risk, high reward play. They chose to do it when they were only one score up. If that gets broken one time, it's a tie game, and now you also have control of the enemy spawn, and you can kind of start to run their world that way. I think on that half of Den, it's probably disproportionately strong in regards to just doing it generally anywhere else on any other map. But yeah, I mean, like if you're up 5-1 and then you start turtling, you've probably already won the game at that point. Probably if you're doing it when you're up 2-1, you're doing it really early in the game and you have to burn a lot of time doing it. So it's a really risky thing you have to do, or it's just a way to kind of shut down a comeback if you've already kind of done the work and gained a big lead. So I would tilt playing against it, and you could totally tell that Paris were tilting off the earth when it was happening to them. But I don't hate it.
In the moment, the trauma flashbacks of Bagra made me fucking sick. But if you actually looked at the mini map, there was definitely a way to go through it. When you saw their setup or whatever, and they did it for a full like 1 minute 20 seconds, dude. Like surely you at least get a little bit of push, right? Gentlemen just had to stack one side, but every single time they tried to set up for a push, they were doing a 3-lane hit. One bottom mid, one top window, and one coming from the dojo area. And they were just doing the same thing. Who said it? Doing the same thing over and over again is the definition of insanity. I think this was just a moment where general mates haven't really run into that in their scrims or practice. They were just unprepared for that. You could hear it in their comms. You could see it in their faces in the next map and whatever. They just weren't used to that, and they're going to fix it. I think teams are going to learn how to deal with that stuff, and we'll see it less. But this was Falcons doing it to Paris Gentlemates, and I will never forgive Falcons for that. So fuck that. No more turtling. GA that shit, dude. Talking about Falcons.
GA it.
Talking about Falcons. They're number one on the ranking, they're on number ones on the points right now, going number one seed so far. Like, what do you think of that? We had them so low before.
Wait, they're the 1 seed, or they must be like 4-way tied for it, right?
Tie way breakers, yes, but
They're 3-way tied with Optic and FaZe.
Yeah, but Optic
Okay,
will
okay.
lose that to FaZe automatically, and
Yep,
FaZe.
yep.
What is it? Have Falcons play against FaZe? Either way, my point is they went from basically bottom of everyone's list, or like middle bottom, to first seed right now. What do you think that means?
I think it means that I called it.
Oh no, shit! I forgot.
That's what I
I
think.
forgot.
Look
No,
at that.
fuck
That's
you.
a smug man. That is
mean-
a smug man.
You can't argue with 6 rings, Dino. Come on.
Listen,
Half those
I'll-
rings isn't even in the fucking server, dude.
I mean, listen, I said it in our very first episode, and I'm going to keep saying it because I do still think it's true. I think Falcons are just a 0.5 team. Like, they are the coin flip team. They're just going to, every single day, they're going to come in. Either they're all going to be firing on all cylinders and they're lights out, or they're going to look like the worst team in the league because the other team is reading Kismet's routes. And if you read Kismet's routes, they are just a head smash team. And then again, they only are going to win those if their guns are hot. So I still stand by my prediction. I think at the end of the year, the Falcons are going to be at an exactly or pretty damn close to exactly 0.5 win-loss in all of their series on the year.
I will say they're going to lose a lot more matches than they should if they don't figure out how to calm properly. Between Celium being so mumbly and like unintelligible to Xnid thinking that every single moment of every map is like the final circle of an Apex lobby.
Dude.
He needs to calm down, and Celium needs to practice his pronunciation of words, because they're just running around like they're chickens with their heads cut off because they don't know anything. They have no info. They try to give info, but it's not working. So if they fix that, then I feel really good about them.
I have to say, I have no idea like how much English Xnid spoke before joining this team, or like what his level of comfort with that would be, but he has got to be going into like such a cursed roster. If you're someone that's like ESL or like not super comfortable with English, like that is number one. COD is a hard game to like play in your second language. Like, it's way too fast for you to need that like millisecond to translate something in your head. And B, he's playing with players that are kind of notoriously known for not having good comms. And when I say it, like, I think Pred is like I'll say Pred doesn't have good comms with an asterisk, in that I think Pred is like really good at keeping people like locked in and focused. I think, but his actual like comms in game are, in my opinion, a bit lacking.
Yeah, he keeps
at
the
least from the
momentum
very
going.
limited bit that I get from listen-ins, right? Like, you know, it's hard for me to pretend I'm an expert, but you know, my armchair analysis.
No, for sure. Like, okay, you've been enough comms both from like a player and a coaching standpoint, and you know how there's different sort of forms of ways that communication impacts how a team plays. And he's definitely a player where you want him to be giving his version of comms when you have the flow and momentum going. But you need to get that going in the first place. And every single time they go into a Falcons listening, I feel like a grenade has gone off in my ear. And it
Yeah,
doesn't matter
they're a
if they're
win
winning
more
or
team.
losing. It's the same shit, and I don't know.
It can be the first. It can be the first like P1 to P2 rotation of the game. The score is like 20-15, and Xnid is freaking out. It's so funny.
Yeah. Maybe it's a symptom of, I don't know too much about it, but apparently like the Saudi league or whatever, They play 6v6. I didn't know this, but I
Right,
think
yeah,
that's
yeah.
what Kix is doing now. Is he's like playing in the 6v6 league? Which, if that's the case, it actually completely explains why XNet is like that. Because I could not imagine playing like traditional comp COD in 6v6.
6v6.
That would be so insane. Like
Oh my
5v5 was
god.
so insane. 6v6 is just like, oh
Could you
man.
imagine spawning into Blackheart on a 6v6 hardpoint? Oh my god.
Actually,
I
it's
don't
a
know if they have GAs or whatever too. Like maybe it's the kind of thing where like all the crazy SMGs are in the game too. So you're like running around with like 10 NPCs or whatever on the map, just shredding everyone, and then there's just like one AR per team holding it down.
it's a good point you bring up because I feel like it's also a case of like some of these like the Saudi League or whatever, even like the Latin League and whatever, don't have as much developed sort of calm protocols. Now they can calm however they want, but like it's different when you hear the comms in North America because they've had years to build up. This is how we should effectively say things. Everyone's adopted terms like bumping, adopting terms such as that. But think about. I don't know if you guys saw the clip, but COD Mobile 5v5. Whenever you jump into the comms of that, it's honestly like the same thing. It's like Overwatch Chinese comms, dude. And it makes sense because the people who are playing COD Mobile are those regions, and it's fucking hilarious.
Yeah, I haven't followed much COD Mobile, but just in general, I feel like um, I've always been more of a fan of the Toronto Ultra style of comms because really, I think
That's what I mean
most of
with
what you need
develop,
to
yeah.
calm in game should be small talk. It should not be the big picture because your big picture should be drilled in. If you get a four dead, you shouldn't need to tell anyone where to go on the map at this level of play. People should just know where they need to go instinctually because you should have that drilled into you as like an automatic response. So at that point, it is the small talk or like calling for specific routes or like, you know, your spawns or whatever. So I, in general, think that, you know, teams should be calming less, but also that's way easier said than done because of how fast and chaotic Call of Duty is, right? Like it just sucks you into the speed of the game, and that's really hard to break out of.
I think that's
But I
also
did want to
pretty.
return really quick. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Davey.
I just also think Toronto is going to be disproportionately good at that because Kleenex and Insight have been playing together for so long, and then they got Joe kind of on board with that last year. So they already, that team specifically has had a foundation of players kind of understanding their tendencies for a long time, and I think bringing people into that is much easier if you're Toronto than it is for. I guess Optic would be good at it, but that's just not their style. But any other team, it's like that wouldn't be their strong suit.
Yeah, look at how Abe played at EWC last year, right? Beasting, and he just
Mhm.
it's because he can plug in and play, like you say.
Mhm.
But I did get tilted by overload, but I did want to quickly return to this Minnesota versus
Yes.
FaZe Vegas
Let's
series
talk
because I
about
have one
this.
specific thing I wanted to talk to you guys about, which is I found this series very interesting. I had this revelation after map one, and so ultimately FaZe Vegas did win the first hard point, the Black Heart hard point, and they won it fairly comfortably. It was like 250 to 180 ish, I think it was somewhere in
Yeah.
that realm.
Near the end,
But
like
I
they just turned up and they just closed it out on the last two hills. Yeah, go on.
Yeah. But something I realized from watching this Blackheart is base doesn't have a flex player. Actually, that's not true. They do have a flex player, and his name is 04, which means that really they only actually have one SMG player on phase. And I know that there's a lot of rumblings that Colossus is going to go out of the map pool, and we've already GA'd some of the close range Shredder SMGs. But I do think that watching this Blackheart, you know, ultimately they did win the map, but it made me kind of realize that this FaZe Vegas team is going to be super vulnerable to meta changes. Where, you know, if we do end up in a meta where three SMGs is really common on the map, I think they're going to fall extremely far behind compared to their competitors. I know that Draza in title is a flex, but practically he is not a flex. Like, when do you ever see Draza go onto an SMG, right? He doesn't. Like, never. He probably has more pistol kills than SMG in a year of COD. So I do think that this FaZe Vegas team, you know, I'm very curious to see how the map pool starts to shake out in the mid and late parts of the year, because I think that could have a huge impact on them as one of the teams that don't necessarily have flex in like their second AR role. It's kind of in their second SMG that their flex is. Like they'd rather go 3 ARs than 3 subs. And I think that's going to really impact the dynamic of this team and how successful they are on the year.
Real quick, that's interesting how you bring up the whole meta changes. Some of these some of these teams being vulnerable to it, like phase. I think all the top teams are have been impacted negatively by this Blackheart coming in. If you see the past week, Blackheart, what is it? Gentlemates versus Falcons. Falcons took it, and we expect Gentlemates to be putting up. They had the best hardpoint stats out of like any of teams. Next one, Koi versus Ravens. They also got fucked over by them in Blackheart. They're just not adapting to it.
I want to interrupt quick. I think there's a conversation to be had about Paris losing that Blackheart because of how tilted they were right after that overload.
Potatoes, you know.
Like Falcons were on cloud 9 and Gentlemates were kind of checked out after that. So I think there's an argument for that one specifically. I think I don't want to be too harsh on Gentlemates about that.
True, but the point stands that this new map change sort of has given more of an advantage to some of these teams that are still growing as a team versus some of the already established top teams. And you know what? To be a top team, you need to be sort of resistant to that.
Yeah, and I think it'll just be a case of, I think that maps like Blackheart will actually slow down as the year goes on, as funny as that says to say, because I think right now, like, we always hear the desk and everything on the CDL broadcast talk about how it's a really fundamental map, and it is. And I think that right now, as fundamental as it is, people are still learning it, and you can like get some really crazy timings and like awkward moments as a result. And I think that as the map gets more figured out, you'll see less of that throughout the year. And actually, the map will start to like slow down a little bit, as funny and counterintuitive as that sounds. So I am curious to see how it shapes up throughout the year in that way too. But I do think it's just really annoying that we have the Dravik as our SMG this year because like Minnesota were literally playing 4 Draviks. They were playing 4 Draviks on P1 because why would you ever want an AR on that hill? And just I feel like there's multiple hills like that where because the Dravik's like a hybrid SMG, you're gonna have 4 Dravik hills or 8 Dravik hills a lot on this map, unfortunately.
We've gotten into it right now, and that's actually probably a good topic to go into. We touched on it last week a little bit, but what do you guys think of the Blackheart change, like as a map? Bring it into the map pool.
I enjoy yeah. I enjoy having like a super small. No worries. I enjoy having a super small, just kind of bang out map. It's really fun to play. It allows stylistic differences. Like these lower tier teams, like if they're not as coordinated as some of the top teams, their teamwork's not as good. They can still just kind of rely on chaos to maybe get a map win if it sneaks through in the veto process. So I think it adds variety. It's fun to play in the game, and I get to watch Lurks do his thing, which I love.
It's literally Bocage, actually. Yeah. Now that I think about it.
And I loved Vanguard.
No, on Bocage you would actually need an AR. On Blackheart you don't. Like genuinely, that's the difference between the two maps. And it's not even like Blackheart is like a bad map because of that. It's just different. And I think that's what's interesting and compelling about it. I'm with you, Davey, of like, just give me something different. Like, end of the day, it's a 3-lane traditional map. Like, it's really not breaking that many barriers. But in this game, and again, in the context of there's no strategy in Respawn Call of Duty these days. So, you know what? Like, give me some different styles of gunfights. Like, if that's the only thing we're going to have different game to game, map to map, then like, yeah, let's lean into it. Let's have some, Scar hard points where, we're running 8 M15s. We can have exposure hard points. Can we talk about that? LAT running 4 M15s on exposure hard point for most of the game. Like, unbelievable that we're really GAing subs when that's the case. And yeah, so I'm happy to see some variety in the gunfights.
Yeah, I've been enjoying the Blackheart change for the reasons you guys saying, but also it does remind me of some of these jetpack games like IW, some of those maps. Like you said, playing more bang out, more into you gotta just take the chow. And that obviously is what people like watching. But I think the further point I want to make is that low key, the map pool this year, it's still kind of shit. Like, it's bad. I don't know. People have been saying like, "Oh, the maps are so good this year, Scar, Den, the Colossus," and I'm like, "Are they though? Are they really though?" Because I'm watching this. It's like you said. It's the same fucking gameplay every single time. It's all head bash. It's all bang out. The only time we see something different is like in the fucking overload where you people turtling, and even that's pissing me off. I don't know. I do think they need to bring back Standoff and Express. I do think so. There's a reason why it's
Old
tried and
heads,
true.
man.
No,
The
they do,
frickin'
dude.
plague of the
Look,
scene.
they need to bring back frequency and Arsenal. That's what we need. Gridlock. They're in the files.
Yeah, that's what we need. We need to replay maps even more over the last 20 years because we haven't played them
Bro.
enough.
Dota has one map, please.
I don't think what you're talking about is a map issue. I think the problem is that the problem's exacerbated with GA, culture, but it's not like in tac shooters like in Counter-Strike or Valorant where you have an economy that changes how a round is played. It's not like in a hero shooter where you can have a different idea for a comp and that changes how you play and how you play into it. Call of Duty is kind of like, it's not a game as much of adapting as like a hero shooter. It's the goal is to kind of perfect it. Like a hard point, you want to perfect your hard point. So just naturally, that's going to involve kind of attempting to do the same perfect thing for every team over and over and over again. It's not helped by the fact that the pros GA all but 3 items in the game. So I actually if you look back at some of the maps that we've been playing in past years, like these maps are good. That's one of the things I actually really like about Black Ops 7. The maps are good. You could put more maps in, but
they're okay, dude.
they don't
You know what
have
I think it is?
they don't have as high of a ceiling in terms of map design as like Black Ops 2, but there's no terrible ones. Like when we were playing the Modern Warfare 2 maps and that Modern Warfare 3 remake, those maps are terrible. Like playing on Skid Row and you have to rotate with 45 seconds left.
Skid Row was
to get
great. It's a
top
shame
building.
they took
You
that
have
off.
to rotate on that hill with 45 seconds left.
Square up, dude. Square the fuck up. You get there, you hold it.
I think this is some AR propaganda. I think that's genuinely what it is. Is we finally have a game where it's an SMG favored game, and the ARs are just fuming about it because they can't. Slasher can't sit on his head glitch across the map and just farm SMGs for his 1.0 kill death ratio. He gets exposed this year.
Bro, you're
retires
out
the
here
same
talking
number
about
of
how the
games as
Dravik
Legends.
needs to be taken out as a terrible gun. Don't give me that bullshit, dude.
Listen, no. But here, something I'm partly memeing in all this, but what I will say is that COD is doing its best arena shooter impression without being in an arena shooter. And you know what? All of the mechanics that involve strategy in an arena shooter don't exist in the Call of Duty space, where there's not central guns that you have to pick up and think about the timers on, like with Halo. Yeah. You're not keeping a timer in the back of your mind on when the overshield is going to spawn on the map. So all of the strategy of an arena shooter is removed, and we're left with Call of Duty.
But okay, taking that point and going back to Davey's point about there's no economy, there's no strategy in hero meta and the abilities, ult economy and stuff like that. That's not what COD competitive's all about. It's never been about a strategy. It's like that astronaut meme. There's no strategy.
I completely disagree.
It's never been. No, it is about squaring the fuck up, dude. All this shit about
people
guns.
People call Ghost the best S&D game of all time, and that was the most strategy-intensive game in the whole franchise.
Say again? Which one?
People say Ghost is the best S&D game of all time, and that's the only game where it had some of these mechanics we're talking about.
Ghosts was ass, dude. People look at that shit with rose-tinted glasses. When was the last time you played Ghost S&D? When was the last time you played Ghost S&D?
I've never spawned into Ghost S&D.
And there is a reason for that.
Well, I only played Ghost for 2 weeks. And then I just, did something
every
else.
Single time people says Ghost S&D was one of the best S&D. That's because in comparison to everything else on that game, it was okay. There's a reason why People ain't doing ghost throwback tournaments anymore. Hell, people are playing more MW remastered S&D tournaments this instant than that fucking game. And you know what? You know what MWR also has? 2 guns. 2 fucking guns. All this shit about gun money, I'm so sick of it, dude. Just square the fuck up. I'm so tired of this bullshit. Play the fucking game. It's like what you said about Dashi. Play the fucking game, man.
Well, speaking of playing the game, I'm going to try and bring us back to some of these maps. Or some of these matches from the weekend. So, New York, Boston. I don't know if any of you guys want to talk about this. This
Sure,
should have been a barn burner. It looks like it would have been a barn burner. It went game 5. There was a reverse sweep. This was a very boring series, in my opinion, just because it was a battle of who could choke off harder. Map 1, I think it was Boston won the hard point because Cloud9 choked, or maybe I've got it opposite. There's just so much choking on
other way
display.
around.
It was a reverse sweep, so Cloud9 won the first 2.
Yeah, so map 1,
God, that's
Boston
kinda
chokes the hard point. They got like 240, lost the game. Map 2, I think was it was the S&D went round 11, I think it was, right?
Round 10.
And
Yeah.
round 10. Honestly, not much to talk about there. Then the overload, Boston ended up winning, but they nearly choked it. They went up like 3-0 and then got scored on multiple times, or went up 4-0, got scored on multiple times, nearly choked it. Then the Colossus hardpoint, again, like just kind of, Boston just won comfortably. And then the final map, just Cloud9 looked like terrified. I have no words to describe it other than that. They just got absolutely
0-6.
fisted.
Like, it was so fast, dude.
Yeah, it was terrible. So this should have, like, it looks on paper like it would be a great series to watch, but really I found it pretty uninspiring.
Dude, they're gonna do it. They're going to do it. Cloud9 are gonna drop Vivid, I swear to God.
It feels inevitable, doesn't it?
Right? That poor guy, man.
Even though I think, honestly, I think probably like Beans is the worst player on this team for my money. Not even because I think Beans is bad. I think he's just kind of a coin flip player, is my feeling these days.
You talking shit
And
about
that's kinda nice
EU
when-
Dashi? You talking shit about EU Dashi? It's so funny how that was the narrative when he was coming in. And this is like what? Is like 5th, 4th team? Just passing him
it's his-
around?
Yeah, I think it's his 4th team now. Maybe only 3 years in CDL. I don't remember if he got on a team in Modern Warfare 3. But either way, like, I do think he's kind of just a coin flippy player. That's what I've come to realize in him. Like, I had a lot of faith in him at the start, but at this point, I've just come to accept what he is, which is just, he is a hot and cold player. Sometimes he's going to take over an S&D and just single-handedly win you the game. Sometimes he's going to single-handedly lose you the series. It just is what it is.
I feel like half the players in this match are like coin flippy players.
Who else? Like,
Those
give me
people-
some names. I don't even hate the opinion. Just give me some names. I need
Well, I
blood.
mean, probably everyone on Cloud9 except for Vivid is
Okay.
pretty coin flippy.
Honestly accurate.
Yeah, Mac is
Yeah,
like hot and cold. Let's be fair. We love the
God, I
guy,
can't
but
remember
Afro
ever-
is too. Afro
I
is
can't
too.
even remember.
Yep.
I mean, Nasty's kind of been underrated for a little bit, but he's not like the most consistent player ever.
No, Nasty is good, dude. Nasty is like
He's
constantly
been
consistent.
underrated.
He's
He's been underrated. I
consistent.
think these. You think so?
I think so. Last year
No,
he was the most
I-
consistent part of Surge. Swear to Christ, not the most flashy, consistent though.
Well, I don't know about that.
I actually agree with Davey here because it's like he is hot and cold. It's just that his cold isn't like single-handedly losing your team the whole series. is
He's
what I
not a
think it
takeover
is.
player. Yeah.
Think about like the map 4 hardpoint memes about him though, right? Where like in map 4 hardpoint, for just whatever reason, he starts taking over. That's his version of like his hot, and then his cold is like, the exposure where he like goes -10 and he's like kind of stinks.
I think
then-
I think
and then
Cammy's more of a hot and cold player than Nasty. Sorry, go on.
Yeah, him too. And then Snoopy is like the kind of Shotsy style player where he's like super cracked, and just inherently in that play style, you're gonna have some real stinker maps once in a while.
Budget Shotsy is what I used to call him. Nice guy.
Yeah,
I met him.
I don't know. I don't know. It's crazy how times change. Vivid gets too much disrespect, man. In Cold War, this guy got picked up on Empire and was making finals with them. And then
Yeah.
and then every single year he's getting scapegoated now. It's crazy. But yeah, just neither of these. You were talking about mid off with this game. I actually think this is like potentially like bottom.
Bottom
These
tier game.
these might be like bottom 4 team. Both of these teams might be bottom 4 right now.
Okay.
What I will say about this from a narratives perspective, so last year Boston had that crazy champs run, right? But what was included in that crazy champs run was a complete lack of expectation in them to perform, right? You could not have less pressure than Boston Breach did at champs last year. Everyone had them as their lock last place for the tournament. So I do think there's a certain kind of mentality and lack of pressure that can elevate your performance above normal. And what I think we're seeing is now people have some expectations about this Boston team, sort of like they did in Modern Warfare 3 when they did the whole slasher thing. I don't know why, but some people are just deluded by nostalgia.
They even made him a cool
Anyways.
hat with the Breach logo. It looked like his A's hat or whatever it is.
Exactly, yeah. So I do think Boston now, a big question for me, because honestly, it's been multiple matches it's like this, where they are hardcore choking. Like, I know that, like, choking and, like, that sort of thing gets thrown around a lot in sports and in esports, especially in COD because it's so hot and cold. But no, they are massively choking in their last few matches. Like, multiple hard points they had within 10 points of winning the game, and then they had the other team score 50 to 60 points to win, if not more. I'm pretty sure in the Miami game they were 5 points from winning it and had 80 points scored on them. And now this New York one, where again they choke the hard point, and yeah, it's just I'm kind of getting nervous that Boston Breach are actually chokers, and it's not just like a meme, and that the champs is going to be a one-off because no one believed in them.
Do you think? And I mentioned this last time or one point when we talked. Do you think that the 3-year long Snoopy project is over? Now I call it the Snoopy project, but it's more so Purge, Snoopy Cammy, that core. Do you think it's done? Do we need to sort of find new parts? Do we need to change our strategy, Boston? If you're the Boston GM, what's happening? Moneyball.
Yeah, I mean,
Moneyball.
you've seen what that kind of grouping is capable of, and they have the potential to maybe make a Sunday once in a while, but they're not a team of that caliber, if we're all being honest. So I mean, if you're okay with like being middle of the pack and never becoming like a top 4 team, then I guess you can keep running it. But I mean, if you want to try to improve your team, you definitely make a change. You've seen what they can do now.
I think I'd give him one more year before I'd want to commit to a change. I still think Purge is he's a lot newer of a player than people think of him as. I think in part because of like how he carries himself, and like he's like kind of that, laid back dude, for lack of better words. Kind of seems like he has his head on straight. But his rookie year was MW3, right? That was 2 years ago. So he played half of MW3 because he got dropped mid-season. I don't actually know if it was half, but I'll just say that for the sake of things. And then he's played Black Ops 6. And in my opinion, he's grown enough year to year for me to give him, at minimum, one more year before I'd consider dropping him. So I think him and Snoopy together, I'm definitely sold on that duo for one more year. On the AR front, Cammy, it seems like, does a lot for the team in terms of their out-of-game strategy, just from like some of the interviews and stuff. I think he's got I think Cammy, an underrated part of Cammy's gameplay is his brain for the game. He had that interview, I remember, in Black Ops 6 where he talked about the stat that he wished they could track is like who's the first person to die in like a square off in hardpoint, and that would really tell you who like good players are in the league. And I thought that was such a brilliant answer, to be honest. So probably I'm just overrating him on that alone, but I like this guy. Maybe it's the Toronto nostalgia of what he did for us in Cold War, but
did you ever get his signature?
he's still pretty good in my hands.
Did you ever get his signature on the shoes?
Oh, no doubt, dog. All those classics. Listen, Beans, if you're watching this, give me your fucking signature, you little rat. I tried to find you for 4 days straight.
Yeah, he went, in champs. Oh, this guy was looking for Beans the whole weekend. And after they lost, Beans was just hiding in challengers for the longest time, and he couldn't find them.
Oh, pissing me off.
I don't know.
He's the only one I'm missing. across 5 years, he's the only guy I've ever missed. That's how you know he wasn't meant for Toronto.
Any
I don't
last
know, like-
statements, Davey? Because I have a
I don't-
potential topic
the
I
whole-
want to just move on to.
Yeah, the whole idea of like, picking up players and allowing them to develop and improve over a couple of years, like Purge, like he's been slowly improving as he's been in the league, and same thing with Snoopy. I mean, in a league where you like, if your team is bad, you're probably making like 2 to 4, 2 to 5 roster changes a year, and in a league where it's very possible to just kind of pick up a player and they're ready to go and they're a good player. Like, I mean, there's no shortage of examples like that. Like Abuza is pretty good. 04 is pretty good. Mercules obviously is pretty good. Scrappy, when he came to the league, he's ready to go. I don't really like, unless you want your team to be like, again, just middle of the pack for years and years at a time. I don't really see a need to pick up a player and let him be on your team for a couple of years to develop when you can find players that are just ready to go.
I think
Yeah.
there's GMing parts that come into it, right? Like multi-year contracts in theory are less expensive than having to get like individual replacements year to year. But I do take to your point. For me, though, where I would want to see Boston evolve is like instead of picking up Nasty, which sounds crazy because he's a good player. Like I do actually rate him. I would love to see like the fourth on Boston be like a cracked AR from Challengers. I think that's like the experimentation you do with this team, and then you keep that core three of like Cammy, Purge, Snoopy. Because in my opinion, Snoopy has proven himself as like this guy actually is an elite talent. In my opinion, like I know that that's a controversial opinion, but for me, I'm sold on it. And I'm also, I will say, I'm sold on Purge. Like, I think this guy is nuts. I think he's I think he's. Give it 2 more years, and we're going to be talking about Purge like we talked about Joe Deceives. That's my prediction.
Okay, interesting angle with that. Bold prediction from me that I just came up right now, and I kind of am starting to 100% believe it. Last thing I'll say before we move on: Boston Breach, mid-season, maybe Major 4 or something like that, Major 3, mid-season, or definitely by next year. Drop a player, pick up Renegade, they win a major. That's gonna happen. I'm calling it. I'm calling it, dude.
I need some more smoking, bro.
All right. Do you guys have any last things you want to say? Any last points you want to bring about any other map before I move on with this? Because I kind of came up with this next topic. So
I'm good.
Lay it on us, man.
all right. Okay, this one I just came up with it on spot and didn't talk to you guys about it. I know we said we weren't gonna do the 1v1, but I really want to throw this at you guys. Who knows if this gets cut? We'll see. Fuck it, we'll run it. 1v1 right now. I'm gonna give these two a topic and an argument to argue for, and they're gonna have to try their best to argue their point. This has been a conversation for at least the past few months. Scump, has he done enough for the Call of Duty scene, or is he the false god? Is he the false goat? Now, Orion, you're gonna argue that Scump has done enough. He is the goat of the scene. Davey, you're gonna tell me why Scump is not doing enough. He needs to run a Challengers team. He needs to. I'm not gonna mention that part about him. Go on, Davey.
I'm
first.
so sorry, Davey. You're gonna have fucking mail death threats by the dozens, man. I'm so sorry.
I know. It's okay. I'll do my best.
Well, I'll start us out on the positive side
Okay,
of
sure.
life.
Let's go with you.
I mean, let's face it. He has been the face of competitive Call of Duty forever. I don't think there has ever been a time where he wasn't, right? Maybe, arguably now. But I would still, like, if you pulled a random person off the street and started showing him faces, they'd still pick Scump every time. I think maybe Nade Shot, right? Like, I don't think there's really any professional player that can compete with kind of the brand name value that Scump has earned himself.
Depends on how you phrase this question. Has Scump done enough for the Call of Duty scene? I think, yes, he has. Is he doing enough for the scene? he's kind of like Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan, he's in the NBA, back-to-back three-peats in the same, not back-to-back three-peat, but two three-peats in the same decade. Creates, like, with Nike, some of the most popular shoes in the world still to this day. His name is immortalized. He's always going to be the GOAT in some people's eyes in the sport of basketball. Today, though, where the hell is that guy? Where is he? He's missing. He doesn't do anything. He's not on broadcast. He's not, like, to my knowledge, he's not, like, running camps. He's just completely out of the public eye. And Scump is doing a little more than that. He has his watch party, but I mean, you're the face of this game, of the competitive aspect of this game. And I can absolutely see the argument of people saying, well, just kind of sit on a couch and watch it every single weekend. Maybe like use your sway to like help the developers improve the game more. You have power just inherent to being like the most recognizable person in the game that other players don't have. And I think you're missing a lot of opportunities to leverage that.
I would say, though, he is already providing that, right? Like, he's on the biggest brand in Call of Duty that he built himself that gets more matches than all the other games combined just by their team playing, right? Like, when Optic plays, there's 50K viewers on the broadcast. When New York versus Boston plays, there's 10K viewers on the broadcast. And so I would say that, his name and like kind of the legacy he built at Optic has already kind of cemented a franchise with mainstream appeal that gets non-Call of Duty fans out. And I think that's really, esports is a very confused child in terms of if it wants, just people that play the games to watch or everyone to watch. If you want everyone to watch, then Scump is the reason or the thing that's going to do that, right? Like, Zuma is not bringing in new people to competitive COD. He's maintaining and franchise COD fans, but he's not bringing in anyone new. Scump is going to bring in new people.
Do you really think that? Do you actually really think Scump's going to bring new people? Because from what I see, everybody watching those streams are all, Optic riders. Throwing a bone for you, Davey.
No, I agree. Scump would be the person to bring in new players. I think the problem people have is that he's not doing that. He's kind of doing Zuma is doing more. Methods is doing more. Scump, he has his watch party, but that's not. Again, that's catering to like the Optic fans. That's not drawing in a lot of new people to the game.
Let me counter. Here. Let me give it, because I could see Orion struggling.
Oh man, you can probably see the fucking veins in my forehead popping out, man. Wanting to say like that he's a parasite and a leech, but anyway.
Here. Why does he need to bring new fans? Esports as a space is at a point where it has grown in audience. We're not seeing explosive growth. So what he is doing is catering to the existing ones so that they can actually invest in the scene. That's the biggest problem esports in general has. Even if there's new fans coming in, these new fucking fans are 11-year-old gooners on Twitter who are playing Valorant thinking they're the best because they're Radiant, blah, blah, blah. They're not putting money into the scene. At least we're getting some actual infrastructure in with these watch parties and what he provides. There's a fucking service. So what he's already done more than what anyone else in esports could do, dude.
My only counter to that, this is not an example that would pertain to esports, but it is very possible to be a personality that draws in massive amounts of people to a game they were not interested in before, just by the nature of you being entertaining. And again, it's not an esports example, but it is certainly a gaming example. This man goes by the name of Jinxie. Okay, he's able to make Clash Royale like one of the most popular games in the world just because he plays it. Scump, you can argue whether he's as entertaining as Jinxie, but he's definitely an entertaining. That's how he built up his audience. That's how again, like you guys were saying, competitive COD grew so much because people liked watching scum videos on YouTube. So if he was still like, again, he's earned it now. He doesn't have to grind like he used to, but he could potentially be putting in more of an effort to be entertaining and to draw in outside people into the game.
I'm gonna lose my side of this argument, man. I'm ready to take your side, Davey.
No, dude, the last time we recorded this, like I was arguing that Simp was the better of the Tiny Terrors when I also agree was the BZ, and I was struggling big time.
It's so
guy,
funny watching.
Dino
you just
does not
grasp
tell
my
us these
straw.
topics ahead of time, nor which side we're going to be arguing. So then we just kind of go in
Look, okay.
and
The
we just have to
thing,
wing it.
The topic thing, okay, yes, I do like bringing the topics, but I will pick which argument on the spot because I think it's just more fun to watch people grasp at straws. I think you're at your limit, Ryan, and so let's put it there. The final thing I will say that actually sort of a serious sort of answer to these questions that we have about the whole scum being face thing, bring new people in. We have something like that in the scene already. We do have that happening in the scene, which we need to sort of keep more eyes on, and that's with the Bush Challengers people doing great things. They are actually bringing new people in from their brand alone.
Yeah.
And not just that. I know I literally brought up the thing of, oh, we can't bring new people into COD. I believe that at the start of the year. We can't bring new people into COD. This game is fucking awful to invest into. Gentlemates are fucking doing that. If you guys who follow any other esports knows, Gentlemates, these fuckers have not touched a controller in their life, dude. They are matching optics numbers, even surpassing it. You saw it last year. They were surpassing that shit with a Lens team, bro. They had Lens on the team, and they were beating optic matches. Like, this is what you need, and this is why, give it a few years' time of Gentlemates doing really well, Gentlemates are going to become the biggest fan base in Call of Duty. I promise you that. They stay in, they keep trying what they're doing. The reason why they're going to stay is because of Gotaga. And that's why Gentlemates will become the biggest brand in Call of Duty if Envoy stays on the team. And that's what I have to say for now. And that's why I love Gentlemates. French fans don't come out.
Listen, I will say about the whole Gentlemates thing, though, American fans just have no idea what European sports fans are like. I think they're not ready for it.
Oh, yeah, for
just
sure.
full stop.
For sure. All right, we got anything more to say?
I have one thing. It's not about these specific matches, but it's about, I guess, the next week of games. So upcoming, we have. So I'll start on the Friday. So it's Texas versus Carolina. Then it is Toronto versus Paris. Ooh. I'm looking forward to this one a lot. I hope you guys are too. And then after that, we're getting into Toronto versus Minnesota back to back on the Friday into the Saturday. Riyadh versus New York. And then LA versus Boston. Finally, we have Paris versus Miami, LIT versus Carolina, Vancouver versus Vegas. When it's all said and done, because I think this is our last week of qualifiers, right? Or is there more even still after this?
No. This should be the last one coming up, yeah.
Yeah, so our next week is our last week of qualifiers. Who's getting the number 1 seed overall?
That's a good point. Yeah, let's go into this. Why not? This is probably a good topic.
So keeping in mind that our top 3 right now by seeding are Vegas, if I'm not mistaken, Falcons, and then who's number 3? Is it Gentlemates?
It's Optic. It is Optic, yeah. 4-2, 4-2.
Top 3 is Falcons,
3-1.
Optic, FaZe.
Okay.
4-2. All 3 of them.
Okay. And then, so Optic only plays 1 match still in the qualifiers. Yep. Falcons only plays 1 match still in the qualifiers. And then FaZe still plays 1 match in the qualifiers. So in theory, of those 3, Texas versus Carolina. Carolina has not lost since Exceed came in. Then for the mates, they're facing Heretics. And then Vancouver. Oh man, fucking Vegas is gonna get it just on default.
I was
man.
gonna
They're
I was
playing
gonna say,
Vancouver.
okay, we're gonna talk about the math. It's gonna become, honestly, it's gonna be 5-2,
Well, you know what I
5-2,
think?
Vegas, Riyadh Falcons. They haven't matched up against each other, right? So it's gonna become down to head-to-head match map count.
I don't
Yeah,
actually know how the tiebreakers work like that. Sorry, go ahead, Davey.
Yeah, I was gonna say, Falcons need one. They play once, and they need one win to get 5 wins. And no one can eclipse 5 wins. Other you can only tie it. I think Falcon, like, they play Cloud9, dude.
Yeah.
It could be Falcons.
True, but I just have no confidence in Falcons to be reliable. Again, I'm of the coin flip disposition for this Falcons team. I think they could win or lose versus anyone.
You
So
know what? You bring that up. That's a great point. That is a great point. I was looking. Okay, I was gonna give the faded take up. You know what? FaZe might lose against TJ Halley. You know, there's a bounce back. Take that. Falcons could probably lose against Cloud9 New York. I think FaZe and Falcons will lose their next matches, and then it's gonna come down to Toronto Koi and Gentlemates. Could be
Cloud9 and Vancouver are the only teams with 1 win right now and 5 losses.
Don't ruin
So-
it for me, dude.
All Falcons need to do is be less coin flippy than Cloud9.
but let's remember
That's all they gotta do.
we have two people on this call right now who said that the Paris Gentlemates are their favorite to win Major 1.
Yeah,
Who took the Paris Gentlemates Game 5, nearly 3-0'd the series by 1 point in hardpoint? Cloud9 New York. Now,
Who else did Paris
just beat
lose to?
them? Falcons, but don't ruin my narrative.
And who
Who
on
else
this?
did Paris lose to?
Who? Oh, Paris. No, they won the game 5 against Falcon. I mean C9. Or you're asking who did
No,
Paris lose to?
It says they have 2 losses. They lost to Falcons. Who's the other one?
Was it FaZe? Here, let me pull it. Let me pull this shit up. Yeah, they lost to FaZe. Yep, I got that right.
FaZe
Oh,
and
wait, no, no.
Falcons.
Yeah, FaZe and Falcons. Yeah.
And they got 3-0'd by FaZe, I think, if I remember right.
No, 3-2.
Wait, really?
Yeah.
Oh, no, it was that FaZe 3-0'd Optic. Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
I still think Paris is going to win the major, but I think Falcons are going to have the 1 seed.
Okay. Bold predictions. I like it. What about you, Dino?
I'm sticking my shit that Cloud9 are going against Falcons, and it's my adage there. Expect the unexpected. Surge are going to win against Vegas, but I'm going to take a left turn here. Paris, they're going to be seed 2. You know who's going to make first seed?
Toronto?
Hold on. Let me. I might be capping here, but let's see. Thieves.
I was going to say, are you checking your math that they can?
Thieves? Yeah, I was. Thieves have Breach and then
Toronto-
Ravens next. They
Yeah.
could go 5-2 and take first seed. All I'm saying is that they believe in Kenny again. And Neum is in there sitting in challengers, and they're like, "Let's go, boy." Hydra and Abizi are
definitely
gonna.
possible.
Thieves are gonna be seed 1.
Yeah, I mean, Abizi whipped out the M15 now, and everyone knows you just need to use the M15.
We've
to
literally
be a good
ignored
player,
them this
so-
whole time, and they're gonna come back from the ashes like a phoenix rising, dude. Thieves. That's my answer. Seed 1, Thieves. Gentlemen, seed 2 though. They're still winning the major. I promise you that.
For me, I would want to be spicy and say Toronto Koi could actually sneak the seed 1, but I actually just don't. It's too stacked of odds. Like, then I'm just being edgy for the sake of edgy. There's no angle there, in my opinion. Like, it's too hard of a matchup.
Yeah.
So I think at this point, for me, I've got to lock it in for FaZe Vegas. I think that Vancouver, there's just... I'm trying to visualize in my head, like, what's the angle for Vancouver to win? Like, how could they win against FaZe? And I just don't see it, because it's like...
Let me give
Okay,
you the
yeah,
angle. Let me
like
give you the angle. I'll give you the angle.
Vancouver's like an S&D team, bro.
I'll
Like, they
give
have
you the
TJ,
angle.
they're an S&D
Yeah,
team.
yeah.
No, FaZe is an S&D team.
I'll give
They're
you the
just a
angle.
better.
Game 5, round 11, 04 versus TJ. I'm taking TJ, baby.
It's not even going to make game 4. If we're being really honest here, it's not even going to get to game 4.
This is a DoorDash, yeah.
like this series is going to be an email. It's the last one of the whole weekend. Everyone's just going to sign off.
All I'm saying is I'm gonna do my pickings tomorrow. I'm locking this in. I'm gonna.
I also
All
think
right.
I also think it's really funny, Orion, that you're saying Koi have 2 stacks of a schedule this weekend to get the 1 seed, and they have to go through your favorite player, Estriel.
I mean, yeah, Estriel, not my favorite pick. If you want, I can get into the hate, but I think we're getting near our podcast time anyways.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I just do believe in the other pieces of this G2 team. Like I think Kremp is looking pretty good. I mean I've been gassing up Mamba a lot in these podcasts. I really do dislike Estriel. I'll keep saying what I've been saying the whole time. He's just Diet Hydra, and Hydra is not a good person to impersonate your gameplay on. He almost solo lost them the Colossus hardpoint in their most recent series. And for me, he is not capable of like playing in a team setting yet. I think that's his area that he needs to develop in. He clearly has the talent, but he is just not a good enough team player to hang in these game fives or when it really matters. Like that's why they're choke artists. Full stop.
Bro said, bro didn't even say I don't like the way Estro does this. He straight up said I don't like Estro. It's like as a person, dude.
I did not say that.
That's all I took from that. It's like I don't like Estro. What did he do to you? All right, that's a good place to end it. We'll come back and see if any of these faded takes will come to fruition. I promise you, some of this shit will happen. This will happen. But that's been the show for this week. We'll see you next time. We're getting close to Major 1, boys. I better see you guys at the watch party. Peace.
We love you, Scump. We love you.